A very good morning, my dear students. This is your English teacher, Rohit sir, giving you today's lecture video class on the topic of the story like the making of a scientist from your Footprints Without Fit book, written by Robert W. Peterson. The main character here is Richard Ebright, who is shown as a child scientist observing or experimenting all the times in the beginning, completed his journey being a famous and great scientist in Pennsylvania as well as the whole country like America. So we have many things to discuss for today's class. Before going to discuss, let's know about the headlines. And the headlines like the author, the introduction of the story, the summary of the story with the climax or the conclusion, etc. As the number of COVID-19 cases is rising fast in several parts of the country, I appeal to the listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 to 18 years, get vaccinated with the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern. Please continue to follow these three simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 गज की दूरी for social distancing, focus on hands and face hygiene. For any COVID related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the class in detail. Here we could see the image of the author named Robert W. Peterson of the story The Making of a Scientist. About the author, we come to know Robert W. Peterson, 1925, Warren, Pennsylvania, February 11, 2006. It was the lifetime of him when 1925 he was born in Warren, Pennsylvania, February 11 and died on 2006. So he was an American newspaper writer who later became a freelance author of magazine, articles and books, especially on the topics of sports and scouting. So, before in his life, he was a newspaper writer in America. Later on, he became a magazine writer as well as articles and book writer. So he transformed him into another way, writing articles and books from the writing like newspaper. And the topic of his writings were regarding sports and scouting only. His 1970 chronicle of Negro League baseball titled Only the Ball Was White was hailed by the New York Times as having recaptured a lost era in baseball history and a rich facet of black life in America. The baseball commissioner at the time, Barry Cohen, later credited Peterson's book with having focused greater attention on the accomplishments of Negro League players leading to their admission to the Baseball Hall of Fame. So he journeyed to writings of his creations like this, and he faced the problem regarding his writings, and finally it was solved when it was accomplished from the situation to lead their admission to the Baseball Hall of Fame. This much we come to know about the author. Next, we have the introduction of the story, The Making of a Scientist. The main character, named Richard Ebright, has received the Searle Scholar Award and the Charing Plough Award for biochemistry and molecular biology. It was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. So, from the brief note, we come to know that Richard Ebright was a biomolecular scientist. The story is about Richard H. Ebright, who grew up in the town of Reading in Pennsylvania, USA. As he did not have much to do there, collecting things was his hobby. He used to collect butterflies as a child in kindergarten. Let's read how this curious child who collected butterflies went on to become one of the greatest scientists of the world. So, from the story of Richard H. Ebright, it was said in his story that he is from Pennsylvania, and we know the present president of America is also from Pennsylvania, USA. And one of the hobbies was his collecting things like collecting butterflies. He was collecting butterflies to observe their species and keep the record of the collections what he collected there. So we would know many things how he started his journey from collecting butterflies to research one of the most importance or important inventions. So the making of a scientist summary, it is the story about the famous scientist Richard Ebright, as we have been known earlier. Richie, as his mother used to call him, was a very curious child. Right from his childhood, he had started collecting butterflies in his childhood, and when he was 2 years old, he had already collected all the 25 species found near his hometown. So when he was 2 year old, he collected all the species, like 25 species of butterflies from his hometown only, and his mother called him Richie. He is the favorite of his mother. So what happened? Richie's father was no more that time. He was died. Being without father, her mother nurtured him with the protect of both the responsibilities like father and mother. So when Richie was interested collecting the species like butterflies, her mom helped him to encourage and get together with the situations from where he could get more knowledge about his collection. So he thought it to be an end of butterfly collection until one day his mother bought him a book named The Troubles of Monarch 10. This was a turning point in his life and he got much more interested in dealing with science. He started with tagging butterflies, which a task given at the end of the book that his mother bought for him. Then when he first entered the county science fair with a slide of the frog tissue, he lost. Everybody won something, but his project did not win any prize. He was sad, but also understood that to win, he needed to do real experiments. When he was getting bored doing the same thing, collecting butterflies, what he did, his mother gave him a book. The book, The Travels of the Monarch 10, helped him. From the book, he got the idea that he has to tag the butterflies, and by tagging them, it would be known easily that how many butterflies were migrated from Central America to outside and from outside to Central America. So this thing was done by him. Doing the same thing again and again, he was again in uninterested condition. So now he was thinking about doing extra thing. So he did one thing. Now he is trying to involve him experiment through exhibition. So he made some slides with the frog tissue to be entered the exhibition, and the exhibition like the county science fair. But ultimately he was failed and did not get any prize or reward for the fair. And he was very sad what to do next to win for next year. Now he got realized that he has to work very hard until he received any success, he thought. So what happened? He needed to do real experiments and not just make neat and clean models. Then he wrote down to Dr. Uckerhart at the University of Toronto, asking him for ideas to make projects. He stayed busy during his high school, working on the long list sent to him by Dr. Uckerhart. So when he was in confusion what to do, how to win the science fair, he wrote letter to the professor or the doctor in that particular project, Dr. Uckerhart, and he was the professor of University of Toronto, Canada. And Dr. Frederick Uckerhart helped him again and again and suggested him what to do. So he was very busy doing his research successful. Then for the next year's fair, he chose the project of looking at the viral disease that killed nearly all the monarch caterpillars every few years. He thought that the reason for this could be a beetle. So he started raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles but could not get any results. So when he showed his trial experiment at the county science fair, his project won a prize. Then for the next year he made an experiment to show that the viceroy butterflies what copied monarchs. So when he was failed in the first county fair, he was prepared for the next county fair. And that time he prepared on the confusion that caterpillars are being dyed for the beetle, which creates disease. And due to the disease, caterpillars are being dyed. But actually, it was disproven how that beetle nuts are not responsible to make the disease for that the caterpillars are died. Actually, the reason is something else, but beetle nuts are being blamed again and again, and it was proved how by keeping beetles in front of the caterpillars or in the middle of the caterpillars, and being in the middle of the caterpillars are not died. So it was proven and received the first award or prize in the second county science fair. Like this, he was interested to get much more award from the experiment. And next year, what he did, he experimented over some other topic, and the topic is the viceroy butterflies copied monarchs. This project also made him win prizes. Then he started his research as to the purpose of the 12 golden spots on the back of a monarch pupa. Everybody believed that it was just a design, but Dr. Uckerhut thought otherwise. Then Ebright and another brilliant science student got together and made a device that could show that the gold spots were responsible for releasing a hormone that was necessary for its growth. After being won in the second science in the second county science fair, what happened? That he proved another one. That is that viceroy butterflies copied monarchs just because of the safety. But that is not truth. That was not the truth one or the true, because there is one type of bird called starling. It eats only monarch butterflies. So it was proved that birds eat all the butterflies, whether monarch or viceroy. Next, he proved that the spots, golden spots over the caterpillar was not ornamental. They are one type of hormones releasing from their body, and eating the hormones, the caterpillars get full formation of their body. So this also proved by him and his classmate. They both proved it that the golden spots are not the ornamental, they are hormones released from their body, and by eating them, caterpillars get their body in full formation to be completed. Then one day, while looking at the photo of the chemical structure, he solved one of the biggest puzzles of life. He came to know how a cell blueprints its DNA. It was a big breakthrough and was published in a magazine. He also had many other interests and also admired his social studies teacher as he was the one who used to give him new ideas. So, Richard was not taught by a science teacher. He received his knowledge from any other teachers of his school. Sometimes he went to social science teacher, sometimes he went to science teacher because he wanted to get new ideas from any teacher, whether he or she science teacher or he or she social science teacher. So developing knowledge or new ideas is one of the hobbies, as well as he was good at debating, public speaking, and a great canoeist. He never used to win for the sake of winning or for prizes, but because he wanted to be the best at whatever he used to do. It is shown in his chapter that with the right amount of curiosity, a bright mind, and the will to win for right reasons are the qualities needed to be a scientist. Yes, this is obviously truth that he became a great scientist not only for the particular source of his knowledge. He received many ideas from his different parts of his knowledge, and this knowledge made him curious for receiving ideas, suggestions, and conceptions, and being conceptualized or sensed by the different new ideas, he became a scientist and even a great scientist. His mother also played a big role in making him what he was as it was. She who supported him throughout his journey and brought him the book. So he was suggested from the book The Travels of the Monarch 10 and completed his journey by the same book made by himself called The Travels of Monarch 10, which aroused his curiosity in the field of science. So, like this, he established a medical school in Harvard University from where he had completed his study, his research, and won many rewards or awards by his experiments. In the medical schools, Harvard University, he taught many students about the research or experiments, what he observed, and made them observe to invent different something in the medical science. So from here we come to know the journey, how he started from infant from infancy to adulthood, and from infancy to adulthood journey made him a great scientist. And it is written in the Science of America, the great scientist Richard Ebright is still alive in the heart, in the sense of their mind and body both. Then the students, we have this much only for today's class. Hope you would get the story well and there would be no issue regarding the class. Until then, keep practicing and keep learning. Thank you.